Welcome to our podcast, where we explore fascinating stories and ideas from various fields. In this episode, we explore the celestial wonder, the pink moon. The pink moon is the name given to the full moon that occurs in April. In 2025, it will light up the sky on Saturday, April 12th. The best time to view it will be early at 5 a.m. in India. The common misconception that people have is that the moon turns pink in color. No, this never happens. The name is inspired by spring, as April marks the bloom of pink wildflowers. The moon is in its usual grayish-white color. Historically, the term comes from Native American traditions, particularly the Algonquin tribes. The name refers to the time when pink phlox wildflowers begin to bloom in the early spring, and around the time of April's full moon. Besides pink moon, this full moon has also been called breaking ice moon, egg moon, seed moon, and awakening moon. The names vary across cultures, often symbolizing rebirth, healing, and growth. For the best experience, try watching the pink moon just after moonrise, when it appears low on the horizon. This is when it looks the largest. Here are a few tips. Choose a location with an open view of the eastern horizon. Go to a dark area, like a park or rooftop, away from city lights. Use binoculars or a small telescope for a closer, clearer view. April's full moon in 2025 is also a micromoon, meaning the moon is at the furthest point from Earth in its orbit, known as apogee. As a result, it will appear slightly smaller and less bright than a typical full moon.
Welcome. You're watching the latest coming in from around the world here on Beyond World is One. I'm Molly Gambhir. A quick look first at the top stories making headlines. Germany pledges to deliver additional air defense systems and other military equipment, as well including Iris-T systems, as well as 300 missiles to Ukraine. China blasts President Trump's tariffs as a numbers game that will become a joke. This as Beijing raises reciprocal levies on US imports to 125% and said it would go no further. Says the numbers game has no practical significance in economics. Moscow asks the US to lift sanctions on its state airline Aeroflot to enable the resumption of commercial flights between the two countries. Pakistan intelligence agencies thwart a major terror plot aimed at launching a deadly assault on the strategically vital Masroor Air Force Base in Karachi, according to Pakistan media reports. The UN condemns rising cases of rape of children and sexual violence in Democratic Republic of Congo. Reports say children make up 35 to 45% of nearly 10,000 cases of rape and sexual violence reported in the first 2 months of 2025. More than 100 people killed in heavy unseasonal rains in India and Nepal over the last 2 days. At least 82 people are reported to have died in the Indian state of Bihar and 18 in Uttar Pradesh. In an embryo mix-up, Australia woman unknowingly gives birth to a stranger's baby. Clinic says she was given another patient's embryo in the clinic due to human error. Indian stocks defy global market slump. Sensex rises above 1,300 points at close, while Nifty surged over 400 points. Indian rupee also closes higher as investors grow confident of India's position in the US-China trade war. A massive Russian buildup is underway. Over 67,000 troops are deployed along Ukraine's northern border. President Zelensky reveals that the Russian troops are readying for a fresh assault on the city of Sumy. Moscow's aggressive mobilization near Ukraine's border signals a potentially catastrophic escalation. With tensions running high, the situation is unfolding at an alarming pace. The scale of activity is accelerating fast. Kiev says daily military operations have doubled in just the past week. Russia, having regained control of large parts of the Kursk region, is now eyeing Sumy, just across the border, as its next target. Zelensky confirms that a small Ukrainian force is still holding out inside Belgorod. Now, this is the Russian region neighboring Kursk. Kiev is trying to disrupt Moscow's plans. The Ukrainian troop mission is to prevent a full Russian concentration of forces that could simultaneously strike Sumy and Kharkiv further southeast. Now, this is no unfamiliar ground. Russian troops invaded Sumy in the opening weeks of the war back in February 2022. But they had failed. Though they advanced quickly, they never took the city. By mid-March, Ukrainian forces had driven them out entirely from the region, but this time things might be different. Now, Russia's defense ministry says its forces have already advanced into the Sumy region, claiming control of the village of Zuravka. It's clear signal the offensive has begun. In the south, Russian units are reportedly gaining further ground in the Zaporizhzhia region, stretching Ukraine's defenses thin. Well, this is no bluff. Ukraine is staring down a massive escalation on multiple fronts, with Russia's forces tightening their grip and battle lines shifting once again. The next phase of the war could begin at any moment, and Sumy is squarely in the crosshairs.
President Jose Raul Mulino may have been on a visit to Peru Thursday, but US-Panamanian relations were still weighing heavily on his mind. His government is demanding that the United States update the English version of a joint communique on the Panama Canal, issued following a visit from US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to the Central American country. The Spanish version included a line about Panama's sovereignty over the waterway. America's didn't. Mulino says he wants that changed in order to maintain a level of transparency and fidelity. We're at least in 3 or 4 versions which we sent back, remove the notions of permanent military presence, of military bases, of territorial cessions, because that is unacceptable. Responding to questions over the omission, Hegseth has since acknowledged Panama's sovereignty over the canal, saying the US certainly understands that the Panama Canal is in Panama. According to the joint communique, US troops will be able to deploy to a string of facilities along the canal. The waterway has been the source of much tension between the two countries, with the US accusing
There's been
China.
a tragedy in New York with a sightseeing helicopter plunging into the Hudson River, killing all 6 people on board. The mangled wreck has now been retrieved by investigators, who are tonight trying to work out why the aircraft broke up mid-air.
Spiralling, then slamming into the grey, frigid waters of the Hudson.
It sounded like a sonic boom on my right.
On board, Siemens executive Agustin Escobar, his wife and 3 children. The family had just arrived in New York from Spain that morning, but this scenic flight over the city would end in tragedy. The pilot also killed. Rescuers found 4 victims dead in the river.
2 more were removed to local area hospitals, where sadly both succumbed to their injuries.
The 21-year-old Bell 206 helicopter was flying erratically before the crash in grey and cloudy conditions. And after the moment of impact, debris followed, part of the rotor blade still spinning. The helicopter had broken apart mid-air. The aircraft was flying for the tour company New York Helicopter. It took off from the downtown Manhattan heliport around 3 p.m, flying south before turning near the Statue of Liberty to fly north towards the George Washington Bridge. The chopper again turned around and returned before losing control and hitting the water near the pier in Hoboken, New Jersey, about 15 minutes after takeoff.
The cause of the crash is currently under investigation.
As investigators examine yet another deadly American aircraft disaster. In the United States, Reed Butler, 9
We're
News.
taking a live look over the Hudson River. This morning, the NTSB has a team investigating what caused a tourist helicopter to break apart and then plunge into the river.
Crews pulled the wreckage and the victims out of the river late last night. Authorities report the helicopter had been in the air only 16 minutes before the crash, and witnesses saw that chopper break apart midair just seconds before it happened.
The propeller just exploded and scattered, right? And then after that, we saw the plane was just spiraling down.
The victims include a pilot and a family of 5 visiting from Spain, 3 of the 5 being children. The father, an executive at Simons. Now the NTSB and the FAA are investigating.
But even as the heavy rain brought relief from the heat in Delhi NCR, it claimed the lives of nearly 100 people across India and Nepal. The severe weather was marked by intense thunderstorms, lightning and heavy rain. At least 50 people lost their lives on Thursday in the Indian states of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and Uttarakhand in rain-related incidents. 27 people died in Bihar. Uttar Pradesh saw 22 deaths. In Uttarakhand, a 40-year-old farmer died after being struck by lightning. At least 64 people have been killed in rain-related incidents this week in Bihar, with lightning strikes claiming at least 13 of those lives. 22 people were killed in Uttar Pradesh, while 13 deaths caused by lightning strikes. In Uttarakhand, as I mentioned earlier, a farmer died by being struck by lightning. Bihar ranks as one of the most vulnerable Indian states in terms of lightning-related casualties and injuries. During 2017 to 2022, on average, there were 271 casualties and 57.2 deaths are caused every year because of lightning in the state. Meanwhile, in neighboring Nepal, lightning strikes and heavy rain killed at least 8 people, according to the National Disaster Authority officials.
Even as the heavy rain brought relief from the heat in Delhi NCR, it claimed the lives of nearly 100 people across India and Nepal. The severe weather was marked by intense thunderstorms, lightning and heavy rains. At least 50 people lost their lives on Thursday in the Indian states of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and Jharkhand in rain-related incidents. 27 people died in Bihar, Uttar Pradesh and saw 22 deaths. In Uttarakhand, a 40-year-old farmer died after being struck by lightning. At least 64 people have been killed in rain-related incidents this week in Bihar, with lightning strikes claiming at least 13 of those lives. 22 people were killed in Uttar Pradesh, with 13 deaths caused by lightning strikes. Bihar ranks as one of the most vulnerable Indian states in terms of lightning-related casualties and injuries. During 2017 to 2022, on average, there were 271 casualties and 52 deaths which were being caused every year because of lightning in the state. Meanwhile, in neighboring Nepal, lightning strikes and heavy rain killed at least 8 people. This is according to National Disaster Authority officials. And for more on this, our correspondent Saloni Murarka has sent us this report from Kathmandu. Take a look.
While the rainfall has brought temporary relief from the escalating air pollution in both India and Nepal, however, it has turned deadly. The rainfall disaster incidents, have claimed over 80 lives in India and 8 in Nepal. Nepalese authorities have also informed that during this, 11 people were injured. Floods and landslides due to heavy rainfall is a recurring threat across South Asia. Experts say that climate change is making these events frequent and intense. Today, the weather in Nepal will be cloudy. Many of the regions in the hilly regions will experience moderate to light rainfall. This pattern will continue for the next 24 hours. In the next 1 week, many of the provinces in Nepal will witness heavy rainfall. In recent times, Nepal has been witnessing monsoon-related disasters, creating devastating and significantly increasing the number of casualties. This monsoon season particularly lasts from June to September in Asia. Saloni Murarka for WION, World is One in Kathmandu, Nepal.